Let's get into it. 1, 2, 3. Let's get some more. Have it in. Get some more. Just get some more.
And there we are. Hello. Welcome to My Whiskey Den, your favorite public access whiskey review show where craft whiskey is king. As you can tell, I am here by myself. You don't see little Pat. You do see little Ben going sideways on the side here because I can't just be here by myself. So here we are. Yes, we are My Whiskey Den, proud members of the Bar Cart Co-op, which has many shows for your viewing and listening pleasure, including the Granddaddy Distillers Talk, super deep nerd dives, and actually just last week, first interview I've heard in a really long time of Mr. Chip Tate, the original founder of Balcones. Really good conversation that they had with him, and also the One Piece at a Time, Distilling Institute, where Alan will answer your distilling questions and maybe put them to the test with some experimenting. And then, because Alan doesn't sleep, if you have ghosts, you have everything, which does not necessarily stick to distillation and spirits, but does delve into distillation spirits, but the paranormal about out and about in our world. And there are a lot of haunted distilleries. They've had some very interesting conversations with that. And then we have the classiest gentleman of the group, the Bourbon Turntable, which has new episodes coming to you every Wednesday on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, etc. They have had some really great interviews. They've got another two-parter coming up. Well, they just did part one here. They got more coming up here. These guys they're killing it with their interviews. So please check them out as you can. So we had a scheduled show. We were going to do a sample kill. We actually do our super soft sample stream, allegedly. And hopefully we will be doing a lot of Letterkenny quotes and such in there. I hope Pat's up to speed on that because I can get really stupid with it. We may or may not talk about Ginger Boots and the Ostrich. And if you know Letterkenny, you know what I'm talking about. So we're calling an audible because Pat is feeling under the weather. So because I can be me. and this, I don't know, this image, Bill Haverchuck sitting alone, being the latchkey kid. That was one, that was a very good show. And two, hey, why not? So, and yes, Dave, to be fair, Letterkenny is, that shows, I'm sorry, it is, it is just too darn funny and smart. And there's way too many quotes from that show that can be used in everyday life. Especially at work. So since Pat's not here, I am going to take advantage of that because Pat had a bad experience with Chattanooga. We were all talking up Chattanooga whiskey, specifically the 111 high malt. And I don't disagree because he did send a sample. It wasn't as good as everything else that I've had. He might have gotten a bad batch, but since he's not here, I have 6 different bottles of Chattanooga that I'm going to go through. So this could be fun. I have 2 of the standards. Actually, technically, I guess 4 of them are standards. I've got the Tennessee High Malt. I've got the 99 Rye. And then I've got from the barrel finishing series, I have the Scotch cask, the port cask, the apricot brandy barrel, and the tequila barrel. So we're going to go through these. Some of these I haven't been through in quite a while. So I will go back through and look at my notes and we'll chat about it. And I hope you guys have had them too, because to be quite honest, the Chattanooga stuff, I am a fan. So I am going to start off with let's start off with the killer, the beginning one, the 111 Tennessee High Malt. One of the things that I think is really cool about Chattanooga, aside from for this being a natural cork, it is a substantial natural cork. And yet, Spencer, I think I remember that you saying you didn't like the Chattanooga that you tried either. And That's fair, to be fair. But and they're so what as I was going to say is they're very transparent. You can look up all their mash bills and everything. They give you a ton of information on the label itself. They tell you the batch size. They tell you if they do, like with the experimental casks, they tell you the mash bills that they use for each of the ones that they blended together. You get the batch number. You can look up everything off on here. But the Tennessee High Malt is a high malt. It is 75% corn and 25% malted. And malt is a key active word because it has malted rye, caramel malted barley, and honey malted barley. And I'm looking at my old notes on here. And this is the 111 is the one that got me into Chattanooga. First time that I had this stuff, it's like, you've got to be kidding me. I mean, this is just, it was back then. I remember it was like somebody smashed a bunch of milk duds and just put them in a glass. But yeah, it's still on the nose. There's still and I'm looking at my old notes, which I've been going back, scattered all over the place. I had different ones, and then I went back and I was putting all my stuff in something, I don't know, something legible and together. But before I'd had caramel, butterscotch, fruit, and very malty on the nose, but definitely the malt is the first thing that comes across. And then there's that little bit of chocolate. And this stuff it's just delightful to smell. If you have not had it, our friends at Sealbox, they carry it. I would not hesitate to buy it to try it out. This is it's different. It is a malty bourbon. And if you can get a hold of their experimental stuff, sometimes Sealbox gets that, but your best bet is to go to the distillery to get those. I have not been to the distillery yet. Plan on doing that at some point because, man, the stuff. Go to the website. Go to look up Chattanooga whiskey. I don't have a helper here to type stuff in, but look up Chattanooga whiskey. Look up through their whiskeys and look through their experimental stuff that's been out and released and gone because, man, they've put out. I mean, I've been lucky to get the ones that I've got, but holy cow, they've had some fantastic stuff. But the 111, it is just very malty, and it smells like you crushed up some milk duds and put them in a glass, which is not a bad thing. Dave, have you been there? It's probably a silly question, but if you have been there, I'm very curious. I think our mutual friend, the lovely and talented and silky voiced Kevin, has been there more than once. Okay, I'm going to taste this one. Number one, does not drink 111 proof. Number two, chocolates, cherries, cinnamon, but also kind of like an almond joy a little bit on the palate. Viking Bourbon. Yeah, I really want to go there just because I know they've had some nutty, they put these things out. It's like, you're going to finish it. And what? Okay, I'm in, but I can't get one. Deer Hammer is one because with their chocolate malt, and the chocolate really, really comes across on the palate on theirs. This chocolate is not as chocolatey as that if you've had them both, so you can do a comparison. And I hope you have. Deer Hammer also should ship to you. And if you have not tried Deer Hammer, you should. Deer Hammer is very, very, very good. And Mr. Lenny Eckstein, I think, is fearless as far as what he's going to distill. He'll try about anything. This is just as a bourbon, if you just give this to someone and said, here, try this bourbon, you know that they would pick up something. There's something a little different about this. And it is that maltiness that is on there. And it is, it's delicious. And I'm going to try to save a little bit of each one of these because, we have to do that blend glass. But with some of these experimental ones, I'm not quite sure how that's going to come out, but we'll give it a go. Okay. So, yeah, I'm scared. Viking Bourbon, I'm curious what you have picked up from there. For those of you who have been there, what have you picked up from there? And I hope it's something nuts. And this rye, actually, it took me a long time to get this rye. I can't really get the stuff around me, which is unfortunate. But and when I tried to get it online, it wasn't online, and I ended up getting it a little over a year ago in Kentucky. Just happened to walk by, and there it was on the shelf. Okay. And this is the 99 rye, straight rye whiskey, but there's all the maltings in there. And once again, full transparency with their batch number. Tells you their mash bills. You can look it up, but this mash bill is malted rye, yellow corn, caramel malted rye, and chocolate malted rye. 7-day fermentation. I love this because, I mean, again, what's there to hide? Here's the stuff. Here's what we're doing. Go have fun with it. And a good looking bottle too. It's got the nice embossing on there. That cork, like I said, for being a real cork, it's substantial. It's very dense, and you don't always get that. I was really worried the first time I got one of these because I thought, oh, this cork's going to shrink. Really did not. Very surprised. So Dave says, I got a Founders, which was good, and an experimental high percent. Ooh. Okay, so the rye, again, it's again malty. Of course, rice spice. A little bit of cola. And actually, before I drink this, I'm going to try to be a decent human and have a little bit of water in between. And if you do hear any yelling in the background, that is most likely my youngest, my 20-year-old, watching The Bachelor, because it's back on. So, yes, the shit show has returned. Cannot stand that show at all, or the premise of the show. So she begs me to watch it with her, and my stipulation is that's fine as long as I can talk shit the whole time that it's on. So I get that out of it. Okay, biking as a 99 rye, 111 cast strength experimental. See, the Nocino, man, when I saw that they did do a Nocino beer, because I've got a Traverse City Nocino that is really fun. That's some delicious stuff. And yes, Renita, it is a horrible show. Actually, my daughter was questioning me about it earlier today about why I don't like it. And I said, well, for one, everyone refers to finding their forever person when you should be trying to find your spouse, your husband, or your wife. It's not your forever person. And if you have to brand it as that, you're a moron. And you don't deserve to find love. You deserve to cry and piss yourself like most of those people do on the show. So here's to them. Okay, so back to this. I'm gonna have a little sip of this. This is the Tennessee Rye Malt 99 Rye. Okay, it's like cola with a little bit of cherry syrup and like graham crackers. This is fun, and again, it's just that thick maltiness. Oh man, yeah, Viking Bourbon. Thank you. Yeah, we strive to do something. I'm gonna make sure I pour some of that with the other one so I can do my mix. I absolutely love the maltiness of all the stuff from Chattanooga. And again, it's not that Pat hates it. His experience with them, it was a bad experience. Some have had that experience, some have not. So, suck it, Pat. Okay, this is also for somebody, which, I should make sure Pat gets to try this. Pat, who does not like some things about rye, like the licorice, the anise, even some of the like old fashioned candy type flavors that you get out of rye. Pat does not like that. He would totally like this. This has none of that. Absolutely none of that. Yeah, Temptation Island. Oh my God. My oldest watches that. I think that's it. I think that's one. I think that's a global show. She watches it because it's a train wreck. I just can't do it. Renita, congratulations on that. 3 years. He better know what's good for him. I'm assuming he knows that you can take him if you wanted to. All right. So let's move. Actually, I'm going to make room here because I have 6 bottles and I really don't want to knock anything over. All right. I'm going to move on to. Okay. Well, I'll let you guys tell me. I have the tequila barrel finish, apricot brandy finish, port finish, and scotch finish. But actually, now that I say that, I probably should try the apricot brandy one first before I get too far off on there. And yes, happy belated. So how many of you raise your hand if you told Emily happy birthday yesterday? Should have been all of you. Well, nice. Congratulations. Congratulations to you and the family. All right. Let's get into the apricot brandy. Ooh. And I do, you try again, impressed with the cork. I use a paraffin wax wrap around all my bottles just to give it the little, because not every cork is great. But it's always nice when you open one that hasn't been opened in a while and it's got a great seal opening up on there. Okay. I'm going to pull up what I had on the apricot brandy before so I can double check what I got. All right. So the apricot brandy finished is batch 17 of the experimental, and there is a whole list of, so it's a bourbon finished in apricot brandy barrels, Turkish apricot brandy barrels. And I know on their website you can look up and they'll tell you what the mash bill of what they put into it and even more information on there. Again, what's the hide? But once again, it's malty on the nose, but it's also very jammy, very Pop-Tart filling. That's more of what it is on the nose, like a Pop-Tart filling. Yeah, it is. It's like a Pop-Tart. That is not a bad thing at all. A well-frosted Pop-Tart at that. There's a little bit of baking spice on there too. Okay, I'm gonna take a sip of this. Actually, make sure I add that to the master. Oh, okay. So it is jammy. But then there's like caramelized butter. And then there's like a leather note that comes in on the end of that. Wow. Okay, there was something initially on the palate, and now, Emily, honestly, this is more in the more citrusy Pop Tart. If that, I don't even know if that exists, but you can tell it's like that. But it's just the flavor of the jam is like a Pop Tart filling. If that explains that, just that there's a certain sweetness and density to it, as far as the flavor goes. What the heck is that? There's something that first hits. All right. I don't want to make a habit of this, but I'm going to pour just a hair more. It's like, what in the heck is that? I hate that you're trying to figure out what that one thing is. And I know that's why people go take classes and do things like that, so they can get whole lists of possible flavors that you can get. Or you do your homework. That's not happening, because this is just what's happening. Okay. There's a flavor, and I'm trying to get it. There's a memory thing, and I'm trying to remember what the heck it is. But it hits and it goes away. But you still, you get there's the jamminess, the butter, the leather, and then it just kind of lays there sweet. To seagrass, I have not had barrel seagrass for, it's been over a year. I enjoyed it. I would have liked to have had a bottle of it. So yeah, I couldn't really say that. If you're talking about barrel seagrass, yeah, I never did pick up a bottle of that. For no other reason than, there's only so many bottles you can pick up. Yeah, I got to figure out what that initial flavor is, which would require having a lot more of this. That's not going to happen tonight, but I dig it. I do dig that. And I like the fact that it is not throwing apricot in your face, as so many other finished things do. There's nothing wrong with complementing your flavors as opposed to masking or pulverizing your palate. All right, so of the three that I've got left, the port, tequila, or scotch. I got a feeling I should do the scotch one last. So you guys tell me, port or tequila, which one should I go for next? First two comments, I'll average it out. In the meantime, I will make sure that I've got my blend, which actually smells interesting. Renita says tequila. Any other votes? Going once. Going twice. Going 5 times. All right, got 2 for tequila. There we go. Aaron and Renita. All right, this is the tequila barrel finished, and this is, and I do not speak Spanish. Sorry. Extra Añejo tequila barrels. And I'm sure there is way more information on their website, but have not had this bad boy in a while. Ooh, nice seal, and I am looking forward to this one. And really, I like tequila barrel finish stuff when it's done. Well, I call barrel finishes when they're done well. And really, when they're not done well, they could still be kind of fun. But everything can be abused. And it can be done where it seems like they're hiding things. My favorite tequila barrel finished is the apple brandy finished in tequila barrels from Spirits of French Lick, the Complexity. And I've got a lower proof sample of that to try at some point, but I've got the Hazmat, and good God, is that it is dangerously drinkable for as high a proof as it is. And it's a lot of fun. It is a lot of fun. So I'm just curious, out of all the folks on here, most of us are, I'll say we're north of 40, and, a few of us north of 50. How many caught up on Freaks and Geeks? And I'm curious, if you watch Freaks and Geeks, did you watch it when it was on, or did you watch it after the fact? I was an after the fact person. Okay, it is as expected. I mean, malty on the nose. There's malty, and then it's tropical. It's like a freshly peeled banana. Adding notes here on here. Renita, I want to watch that. There are so many stinking things to catch up on, and I was not one of the fortunate people that was sent home during the dark years. I had to go into work every single day. I was hearing from people who are like, "Oh, caught up on this and I caught up on that." Like, well, that's great. I've been trying to catch up on several things, and there's been a steady stuff coming along that it's like, all right, so tomorrow night, if there isn't, I have to double check. Leverage Redemption, been watching that. New episodes coming out on Tuesday nights. Was catching up on Willow every Wednesday. Now Willow's done, at least for now. And Ghost, watching the American version of Ghost. Watched the BBC version of Ghosts also. That is a fun show. Okay. Then my son's trying to get me to watch The Last of Us, which I think just started. There's so many shows to watch. And then something else is going to kick in, that it's like, all right, I got to start on that. Okay, yeah, it's still malty, bananas. I should probably sip on this thing. Wow. Honey caramel bananas on the palate. I haven't had this one in a while. And I'm sure even with that tequila, the maltiness has got to do something to it. But yeah, honey, bananas, caramel, right off the bat on the palate. And I've got, like, with the banana things, I've had, I don't get heavy banana on Jack Daniels. Some of it I do. I have a banana brandy finished bourbon, and it's like obscene bananas. It is absolutely obscene. That I'm going to save it for doing some cocktails or something. Not necessarily a bananas Foster, because there's not a strong sweet flavor to it. So no one's answered the question about Freaks and Geeks. Did anyone even watch the show? And if you did you have a favorite character? And did you have a character that you absolutely did not like? And I can tell you who I didn't like, as I really did not like the character of Neil, because I also do not like the actor that played Neil, Sam Levine. Not a fan. Renita, you need to watch it. Freaks and Geeks was growing up in the 80s, but the soundtrack was the bomb. And I guess that was the problem with bringing it to streaming and DVD, was getting all of the rights to the music. Because I mean, we had Led Zeppelin and The Who and Rush and all those bands. And then you had to negotiate those rights. And it was just one season. But it had James Franco, Seth Rogen, Linda Cardellini, Martin Starr, Busy Phillips, then different guest stars or guest people that would be on there. But there was, these kids going to high school. Anyway, it was very enjoyable. I liked watching it as a 40-some-year-old whenever I did watch it. The music was good. And then there's it says tequila barrel finish there's like a little chocolate on the end of that finish. That is an interesting tequila barrel finish in that it doesn't stand out as tequila. Okay, and now on the finish, there is just a little bit that's like, there's just a little bit of the tequila, sweet citrus, a little dry, salty. That's nice. Oh, it was so nice to get back into these. And Pat, for the record, Pat is under the weather tonight. Whatever crud it's floating around up there, and he apparently might have had some bad Doritos on top of that. Those are his words, not mine. All right, let's move these two out of the way. All right. So it's time for the port cask. And yes, exactly. And there are some, I think it's harder for probably harder for TV people, but for movies, you get people that can do a soundtrack. There are some directors that can put together a hell of a soundtrack with their stuff. Some of them they can build the story around it. James Gunn is one that dude knows how to do a soundtrack to go with his movies. Also, Wes Anderson. Wes Anderson does a hell of a job with movie soundtracks. Yeah, it's just, it's one, I understand that everyone's got to make a buck, whatever. But you know what? If you're part of something that's great, whoever you are, you little pencil pusher that's approving the use of that stuff, pull your head out of your butt and be a part of something that's great, and quit worrying about your stupid bottom line. That's my public service announcement for the day. Okay, let's see if I can find my previous notes on the port. Okay, I think most everyone has had a port bomb at some point in their life. This is not it, but this has the mash bill. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 mash bills listed. that you can look up on their website. I love that. And it is finished in tawny port barrels. Greater than 6 months is all it says. And this is batch 21 C1 7R. So I would assume 21 is from 21. But on the nose, again, it's like fruit preserves on the nose. It is and malt. I just love that. Find your signature and carry it through, man. But it's kind of a pie crust. But not, which I've said on other stuff before, part of our fat guy tasting notes, the you get like a Dutch oven cobbler, or you get a fresh warm pie. This is not. It's a pie crust, but it's not fresh out of the oven, buttery crust. It's just a pie crust. I'll have a sip of water before I get into this, because 1, be responsible, and 2, try to clean myself up. I have to say, all of these Chattanoogas, they just have a really great mouthfeel to them too. Which I've heard people say that they get disgusted with that phrase mouthfeel, but what are you supposed to say? It feels good in your mouth? Is that any better? I don't think so. Yeah, it's preserves and pie crust and malt, which is, none of those are bad. Oh, what the hell? I'm gonna have to pour a touch more of that. Something got weird, and not weird in a bad way. So, if we were editing, they would cut all that stuff out, me doing this stupid stuff. Or, you have 2 or 3 people on and other people talk while somebody else does this kind of stupid stuff. But the preserves are still there. It got a little dry and tart. But then the thing that threw me off was just this. There was a wave of chocolate, and then it got oaky. And then there were like raisins. And then there is just the tart, dry finish on it. But there was that chocolate hitting, and then the chocolate just disappeared. Like it was gone. It showed up, and then it just left. It was just odd, and not in a bad way. This port cast finish, it is definitely a compliment. It is definitely Amy, it is doing Chattanooga whiskeys, and this one is the Chattanooga whiskey port cask finish from their experimental series. We've already done the 111 series, the rye, the tequila, and the apricot brandy prior to that. But we've had port bombs. A lot of people have had port bombs. One of the best complimented Our complimentary port finish one was the one from Cedar Ridge. That one was really nice. Also, way back, the Spirits of Fred Schlick Unpretentious, which now you can only find with Bitcoin on the tertiary market on the dark web. So good luck if you're going to find one of those things. But it is very complimentary to the whiskey. That was fun. It was just, again, it was the preserves, and they got tart, and then it's just boom, chocolate, and then oak and raisin. And that was fun. That was a lot of fun. And then it just got dry and wine finish. Yeah. And then there's a little leather right at the end. That is fun. Chattanooga is, you guys are great. Oh my gosh. That's just a lot of fun. And while I let myself kind of reset just a minute, some water and time, of course. So we've talked about, Amy, you're late here. Did you watch Freaks and Geeks? Just curious. Not a super fan or anything like that. Just curious. Very interesting of age 80s show. It was not on my radar when it was actually on TV. I couldn't even tell you what network that it was on. All right, let me make sure I'm trying to find my note so I can go back to where I was, because I was somewhere at some point. Okay. NBC. I'll take your word for it, Emily, because, you know, you're in charge. Okay. So we will do the Scotch casks. You know, this is the God's honest truth. It started off me, I just stopped caring. I really did. Like, I am so tired of doing this. And then I got to the point. But the problem is that when you let it grow out, you actually have to start caring at some point. And so I've had to start like putting things in it. But I like it. I don't have someone other than children telling me, you know, to trim it up or something like that. But I'm like, I don't care. I don't care what the people I work with think. And I'm fine. I'm good. But thank you very much. I appreciate it. And actually today I was just like, you know what? 2 white stripes are just, it's very comic booky in a way. So, all right. So back to other things that are much more important. This Scotch cask one, I remember. So this actually was a gift from Mr. Kevin Rose, Mr. Silky Voice himself. And this is obviously finished in Islay casks. However, it is made from 2 mash bills. And then it is finished in 3 types of Islay cask barrels, which I find very interesting. Yeah, you know what? I don't have a problem with gray hair at all. My dad was not all gray when he was hold on, let me think here. He was 71 when he passed away. He was not all gray at all. I've only got little bits of gray. Most of my gray is here. My wife, she had gray hair. I love gray hair, and she rocked the shit out of her gray hair. That's a badge of honor as far as I'm concerned. And you get somebody with a good head of gray hair, man, that looks pretty damn cool as far as I'm concerned. Why mess with it? You were given this beautiful mane of gray, and gray hair can look so badass compared to other colors. Let it go. Okay. Again, malt. Oh, Chattanooga. I love your signature. Okay, you get the Isla, but it's not in your face Isla. Again, very complimentary. Um, and yeah, you know what? I've seen that, and it's just like, whatever. I was like, my wife didn't really color her hair, but she did a little bit, and then she got older, and I kept telling her, it's like, look, you're gonna look good, And then when she went through, especially when she went through and was going through all the chemo treatment and everything else like that, she let her hair go, and then at one point, well, because of chemo, she got chemo curls, and then she got the gray, and I mean, her hair just it looked fantastic. It was great, but anyway, if you got the gray hair, you've earned the gray hair. Rock the gray hair. Let it go. Okay, again, like I said, it's malt, and then there's the Isla Peat salty brine coming off of there. I really should look up and see which of these barrels I did for a while. I was the skunk strips. I like that a lot. Uh, that's awesome, Aaron. For a while, when I was getting my bottles and I would write off my initial tasting notes, I was actually taking paint pens and I was writing it on the bottles. So then I would go and then I would add to it. And so eventually I'd have all these notes on the side of my bottles. But the problem is, well, two problems. One, not all bottles work well because they don't give you all the room for writing. And two, sometimes it comes off. So, keeping track of some of the notes on there, it'll make it easier to go back to it because I'd go back and write my notes. Okay, now and then I'd find out, more about the bottle. I might put another side note or something like that. It was kind of fun, but then, eventually you got to get rid of that bottle because you don't want to hang on to your bottles. And I've been getting rid of them. I have too many. I mean, this is years of doing stuff, but been I've been much better the last year, especially about purging bottles. If you invite me over, I'm going to bring you bottles. I might leave some with you because it's all about sharing, and it tastes better when you share it anyway. Okay, so malt and briny peat. But then there's okay, so there's like this nutty thing. It's like cashews. That's weird. Yeah, cashews. That's really interesting. And so, one other thing, most of their stuff, because I'm looking at the neck of this thing, most of the experimental ones, I believe, are 95 proof. Obviously, the high malt's 111, the rye was 99. So, proof wise, these experimentals are not high. That's really, really interesting. Yeah, the cashews, that's weird. I never really had that before. Okay. Okay. Wow. Yeah, you totally get the Isla smoke. And the first flavor that I'm getting off this is I'm really thinking that they got a hold of a Lafroig barrel. But then there is a little bit of the Ardbeg Kilhoman peat. Okay, so there's the Isla, and then just real bright fruits, just really bright and fruity. And then there's like a little bit of like a toffee candy. Not quite a Werther's, which I don't know if Werther's is technically toffee or not. I don't buy them, but I know the flavor, but it's just kind of a, yeah, kind of a toffee candy. And then there's a little bit of nuttiness on there. That's really interesting. Again, complements the bourbon, complements the whiskey that's in there. Make sure I add some of that to the blend. And I'm going to pour just a touch more of that. And I'm going to try to keep this at an hour tonight, to not go over and not, bore everybody out of their gourd. Plus, I do want to go harass the Bachelor watcher. It's so stupid. Oh my God. I watched the introduction stuff with her, and I'm just like, this is the dumbest. This is so dumb. This show it's infuriating and it's stupid. The premise is dumb. The stuff they go through is dumb. And they're like, I'm trying to find love. Like, you're an idiot. That's where you're trying to find love. You are so stupid. Again, you deserve to be crying in your own filth at the end of the show. Okay. Yeah, I'm curious which of the three Isla barrels, and maybe it does say that. I don't know. Which of the three Isla barrels, but man, the finish on it, it's a very light and bright finish, surprisingly. I'm making a note of that as I talk to you. Light, comma, bright, not light bright, because that's a totally different thing. That is a very nice, again, complimentary finish to the whiskey. And based on what I have had of Chattanooga, there is nothing that comes out that is obscene as far as how they've finished, or I guess, yeah, it's all the experimental finishing. But yeah, the 6 bottles have gone through tonight, and there's a couple of sample bottles I've got of some of their other stuff. I was always intending on doing my own personal Chattanooga night. Well, here it is. Okay, and this is going to get the finish on there. Dusty nuts. It's very interesting. I like it. Again, Chattanooga, I'm sure you're watching. This is really good. If you haven't tried any of the Chattanooga whiskeys, I recommend that you do. I personally have not been disappointed, although I did try the sample of the bottle that Pat bought, and something wasn't right. But it wasn't bad. But he didn't get the joy. It did not bring him any joy. You may be right, and also it's my daughter. She'll start off when she's 20, but she'll start off with, do you want to hear the update, even though I know you don't care? Or words similar to that. Like, sure, I will indulge you for this, but no, I don't care. These people are trash. You're watching that damn Bachelor in Paradise, and that one, I'm like, okay, they're just messing with people on purpose, and there were a couple people that you're like, okay, they're very desperate they are truly looking for love, but they are desperate, and they are messing with them so hard. If that was, well, I would hope that neither of my daughters would do that, but if one of my daughters did that, and if they were on that show and they were messing with them, I would go down there and kick them straight in the nuts. Don't mess with people like that just for your sake of ratings. Screw you. Dear God. Most people are lucky that, that you can actually find somebody, but God. Anyway, sorry. You can tell I don't like the show. All right. So the blend of all six, which there's a decent amount in there. But this is the blend of all six Chattanoogas, which have been the Chattanooga 111, the Chattanooga 111, Tennessee High Malt, Chattanooga 99 Rye, Chattanooga Scotch, Chattanooga Port, Chattanooga Apricot, and Chattanooga Tequila. I think I got them all. And spoiler alert on the nose, malty. It's just malty, and then there's like a waft of chocolate that comes off on it. And most of these have been sitting in the air, been swirling around in my big fat boy glass. But this on its own, I mean, I could not have, there's no way I would have guessed that it came from these six different whiskeys. Now, them coming from the same distillery probably helps with them marrying together well, even though there are multiple mash bills involved. But it's malty. There's a little bit of chocolate. But there's like a bright fruit to it too, which is really interesting. This would be fun to blend these together and send them to somebody as a sample and say, tell me what this is. Wow. Okay. So the first thing, chocolate. At all those things on there, the first thing that's coming across there is chocolate, but then there is it's like a chocolate covered cherry with sea salt. That is nuts. Yeah, it's a chocolate covered cherry with sea salt. So, hey, Chattanooga, if you're listening, that is, I feel like I'm going to have to do this blend again. But what a nice nose. And yeah, it's a chocolate covered cherry with sea salt. That is not a bad thing at all. It's the flavors there. There's no alcohol burn. There's no proof pushing it onto a finish. It's just there's flavor on the finish, but no proof to carry it or push it. That is a really interesting blend. I am definitely going to have to do that again. So yeah, that was fun. It was definitely fun to go back through these Chattanoogas, given Pat's apprehension towards Chattanooga. Yeah, that was. What do we have? We have a bigger train wreck. Emily's posting on the chat, and I don't know. Is this a trap, Emily? Is that? Oh, how dare you, Emily? I think that I liked you. Yeah, click on it at your own thing. So yeah, also Amy, one thing, not a part of the bar cart co-op, but in the family, the Victorian Bar Room. Amy and Brian do that. I think Amy's more of the brains behind the camera. But the Victorian Bar Room has Brian Cushing was on the show before, and we made some of his cocktails, or cocktails. I guess this would be a question. I know he references old cocktail books, but Brian kind of does his spin only in the effect of he'll say this is the modern equivalent of what you had then, but the cocktails we made from that were good. And then I've seen the cocktails that you guys make that I have not recreated, and they look like they just look like they're really good. Okay, I want to say things, and I'm not going to say things because yeah. I would not watch that out of curiosity, but it's kind of one of those things where I would like to hear what happens just because it's like the pitch for the show. Okay, it's The Bachelor, but he's Mormon. Oh dear God. Yeah, I don't want to get into that. I'm pretty sure we don't have any Mormon watchers. So I certainly don't have to worry about offending on them. Any of our Amish fan base either. I don't think we have to worry about that. But hey, you do you. I don't want to hear about your dating stuff. And I heard there's another show about farm people, a farm people dating show. Like sorry. I have opinions about that stuff. Don't play with something that, don't play with that. Don't play with love lives. All right. Well, anyway, that's it. We are just a hair over an hour. That was a lot of fun going through the Chattanoogas. Yeah, you know what? If I were to ever do that, which honestly, I cannot imagine trying to date again. But that would be the way to do it, because at least you'd find almost everybody that I found, 99.9% of the people that I found through whiskey stuff, whiskey meetups, whiskey things, everybody, they put everything else aside because you're here for this one thing. And then where people you would normally maybe don't jive because of something else, you jive because of this, and then everything else, it's like, that's not that important, and then you kind of, it's been great. The whiskey stuff, whiskey people have been great. But that would be interesting. And as long as you weren't going for ratings, because, screw that anyway, screw ratings. That's the way we feel about our little show. We're certainly not in it for the money or for the ratings. And yes, I would definitely do that too. I have in the past, it's been a while, but I have had the Chattanooga 111 with the cigar, and it is delightful. I don't get that much cigar time, that's not a bad thing. But I do enjoy that. And that was definitely good. I'd really like to try the tequila finished, because I would say the other big tequila finished one, which I mentioned earlier, the Complexity, the apple brandy finished in tequila barrels from Spirits of French Lick. Tequila and cigars is really good. And I remember seeing, it was quite a while ago, but there was a video of Arnold Schwarzenegger, and the dude loves his cigars, apparently loves his tequila. And he was talking about taking and dipping and rolling a cigar in tequila before he smoked it. And I had done that with bourbon, like, dipping into a bourbon or something like that, or a scotch, and that was kind of nice. But I tell you what, tequila on a cigar is pretty good, and I would bet that tequila finish would be pretty good on a cigar. Could be a lot of fun. So the problem with cigars is it's not the aftertaste, it's the day aftertaste, or as how one of my friends would say the next morning, where'd the cat go? Like, what cat? Well, the one that apparently shit in my mouth when I was sleeping last night. That's the thing. So, it's I don't mind cigars. I can't do them that often. My dad was he was a cigar smoker. Actually mostly chewed on them more than smoked them. But it's the way aftertaste. So, all right, with that, I will clean my palate slightly, and then I will say thank you all for watching. I have enjoyed going through all of these. Especially it's fun to go through them because, Pat's he's a reluctant little man. But we do have coming up, we are going to do next week. We will do, we've got some specific samples we're going to pick. No, they are not Canadian. After the fact, I thought about it. We should have done some Canadian samples, but we both don't have the same types of Canadian whiskey because guess what? It's not that easy to get the good Canadian whiskey, and they do that on purpose. They keep all their really good stuff. And I was listening to Whiskey Cast today, and he was coming from the Victoria Whiskey Festival, and a very small craft distillery in Canada took the whiskey, the top whiskey award, which I thought, yay for craft. Also very interesting, and they didn't even go to the event because they thought, well, there's no way in hell we're going to win anything. But one just goes to show you come up with something different and people will go to it. But they've even acknowledged the fact that they keep all the really good stuff up there. So whatever. So having said that, yes, we will do next week the super soft sample stream, allegedly, and hopefully we will be talking about a lot of Letterkenny and doing Letterkenny quotes. And Shoresy, the extension of that. If you haven't seen those, dear God, that show is hilarious. The show is hilarious. It's fun. It's funny. The new season of Letterkenny that came out. There is, I don't know if the Ewalds are still on, but there's a really nice thing about how to find. There's always something informative and educational about Letterkenny, but they were talking about, dogs that have run away and lost, and tips about how to find them. Of course, there's the Letterkenny spin on how to do that. So anyway, it's a great show, good time. Always enjoy the folks up there in Letterkenny, and especially when they get to drinking and they do their shots, which is always kind of fun. And then of course the when they get into a scrap is always a good time as well. So anyway, hopefully you join us next week. Thank you all for tuning in tonight. Those that you did, and tune in, appreciate it. And as Pat says, it's not the size of the den that matters. It's the love of the whiskey. I will say cheers to all that, and give me a second while I find the buttons because there's only one person manning the switchboard. But thank you all once again for tuning in.